until the time of Noah's flood. The Bible is absolutely categorically specific. Secondly, there's only 4,000, roughly 350 to 4,500 years worth of mud at the mouth of all the great rivers. It is easy to calculate. Now, Brother Eli, I am a scientist. I grew up as an evolutionist teaching evolution science. Today I'm a creation scientist. But measuring the amount of mud at the mouth of a river, any river, I don't care how big or how small, is a very simple matter to do scientifically. First of all, if you want to calculate that, you use what is called a weir in the English language. And that weir is simply two diagonal sides and a flat bottom across any stream, river, doesn't matter the size. You simply construct a three-sided weir. This is graduated on the side for inches, feet, meters, whatever height you wish to choose. And you put two instruments inside. You put a box, which is a particulate counter. You put what looks like a little tiny propeller, like a fan to blow air in your house, but instead it is a propeller in water. It is a flow meter. And you simply measure the velocity of the water. The particulates count the amount of mud in the water. The height of the water gives you total volume. It is a simple mathematical calculation to determine how much mud is flowing through a river. For example, the Mississippi River, on average, every hour of the year, for the average throughout the year, carries 16 to 18,000 tons of mud into the Gulf of Mexico. Similar calculations can be done with the Indus, the Ganges, the Yangtze, it doesn't matter. And today, of course, we can actually measure the volume of the mud at the mouth of these rivers. We can do this in a variety of ways. I mean, originally we started with a string and a rock, and then we started doing it with sonar, and now we do it with radar. But the fact of the matter is that you can determine the volume of these deposits. You can determine the amount of flow into the area. You can take long-term averages, and you can find out that it would only take approximately 4,350 to 4,500 years to get all the mud at the mouth of the world's great rivers. That's a simple scientific calculation.
Dr. Eli? Brother Eli, there was explanations on both those accounts, the genealogies that take you to the period 1656 years after creation. Now, you might argue that point, but you certainly, when you calculate back, it was 4,000, you can go back roughly 4,300 years ago to the time of the flood, again, using the genealogies in the Bible, and generation to generation. And the mud, what about the explanation of how you measure the mud that's flowing through the different parts in the areas of the earth where these rivers that are mentioned, that the flow of a certain amount of mud is coming through, this alluvial mud?
Brother Howard, if I may, if you will permit me to refute what Dr. Grady said. He said that he is a scientist, and he knows by simple calculation how you can determine the age of the mud in a particular river, wherever the river may be. So he is using some scientific explanations. Will you now say to me, Dr. Grady, that those scientists that believe that the earth is billions of years old are not using scientific explanation and logic as you are using now? Can you now prove to me categorically that carbon dating is scientifically unreliable? Is that what you mean, Dr. Grady? Being a scientist.
Brother Eli, there is not one scientific proof that the earth and universe are old. Evolutionists have arguments to try to persuade people that it's old, but there's not one scientific proof that it is old. It is simply their opinion, because evolutionists live and die by the acceptance of old time, what's called deep.
I'm sorry, I'm not mentioning about evolutionists. I am mentioning about scientists. It doesn't mean that scientists who believe that the earth is old, as billions of years old, it doesn't necessarily follow that they are evolutionists. I'm asking you, are those scientists, not the evolutionists, are those scientists who believe that the earth is billions of years now, are you saying to me that you are more learned than them, that you have your calculation are more exact than them, that you disregard their carbon dating that they have developed, considering the organic matter in a particular subject that is to be investigated about its age. You do not believe in all those scientific processes that they are doing. Is that what you mean, Dr. David?
No knowledgeable person uses these dating processes to establish the age, for instance, of fossils or the age of the universe. None of them work. Carbon-14 starts with 7 scientifically false assumptions. But potassium argon, rubidium strontium, uranium lead, all the other various radiometric dating processes all start with 5 false assumptions. Carbon-14 has 7 scientifically false assumptions. We have known for 30 years it doesn't work. How old do you think carbon-14 is supposed to be able to date something? Okay, Brother Eli, I'll restate the question. If you were using the carbon-14 method, how old a date do you think you could establish something, such as would you be able to, for instance, get a 68 million year old age for a fossil dinosaur bone using carbon-14?
Well, I am not a scientist and I do not know the details about that. But I am convinced by explanations of scientists and by constant experimentation. You see, Brother Dr. Grady, I'm not introducing myself as a scientist like you. Maybe you know more than me about science. But you are not the only scientist I am listening to, or am I considering. There are majority of scientists on Earth believe that the Earth is not only 6,000 years old, basing their belief on established scientific findings, scientific processes. And it seems to me now that you are negating all the findings of science before you and all the findings of known and renowned scientists all over the world. Considering their findings and the exactness of the methods that they are using, we cannot deny the fact that they have evidences to prove that the Earth is more than 6,000 years old. Because only sedimentary rocks, according to scientific findings, sedimentary rock was formed millions of years ago. I just do not have the luxury to show everything that I say on screen to prove my point. I am relying on the findings of the scientists because I am not a scientist. They know more than me about science, but I have investigated also myself that these processes that they are using, for example, dating something which is by carbon dating something which is organic. For example, the skeleton of a woman that was found in Asia, which scientists believe is aged 100,000 years old. And the famous Lucy skeleton, believed to be 3 million years old, allows the fact that the Earth is more than 6,000 years old. Now,
Eli,
in this discussion...
Brother Eli, just there. Sorry, I have to stop you just there. We've got 3 minutes left, but you've raised some very good points, Brother Eli. Dr. Grady, just to come back on what Brother Eli just said, we've got 2 minutes left.
I would simply point out that Brother Eli has chosen, as a matter of his own personal position, to believe what evolutionists have told him about the age of the Earth, the age of the universe, and he doesn't know that it's simply their opinion. He has simply chosen to believe what they tell him. But admittedly, science is not his area of expertise. I admit that, and I understand that. However, evolutionists do not have one single proof it's old. They simply have persuasive arguments. They use deception. They use word meaning switches. They do many, many things. But people then get convinced that evolutionists have, in fact, some evidence, but they don't. This is a matter of opinion. It is religion. Evolution and evolutionary time is accepted philosophically. It is not accepted scientifically. There are over 270 scientific geochronometers to prove it's all young.
Okay.
Sedimentary rock layers and fossils form rapidly. They do not form slowly and gradually, as Brother Eli implies.
Okay, Dr. Grady and Brother Eli, thank you very much for being with us today. I know we haven't been able to deal with any of the questions that were sent in. I apologize, but I want maybe this could be a basis for one more program where we deal with the questions that people have been able to ask and unable to get answers to directly. So thank you very much to both of you and to you, the viewers, and thank you for staying with the